Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you, of course. If you're watching this when it came out, it is Thursday or shortly thereafter, hopefully. Hopefully you're watching it before the Oscars because it'll be outdated by then. But it's time for my weekly power rankings. This will be the final update. So the power rankings differ a little bit from my predictions. So the week of the Oscars, I will give you my final predictions. So right now, I'm just going to kind of give you how I think the race is kind of sitting, leading into those final predictions. We got the SAG. We had the PGA, a lot of shakeups, particularly with our top two contenders this year. So I'm kind of battling with what to do with some of these predictions. So I can't do this by myself. I mean, this is the last power rankings. I got to figure out what the hell's going on. I really do, because I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to bring somebody on the show to help me this week. He's never been in the garage either, which is really, really exciting. But he knows what he's talking about, so I'm going to get him in here. Let's say hello to Mr. Clayton Davis from Variety.
That was a bad setup, man. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm really bad at this, man.
Man, I was talking to you before we started recording, and I just love your passion around just movies in general, and just I could just tell that you love it, even when it gets toxic out there sometimes. That's not what it's about. It's about, lifting up cinema, and I know that's what you're all about, man. So even though...
That's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about loving cinema. That's all it is.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, even looking at my power rankings that I'd made, and I'm like, a few of these are like no-brainers. And then I saw the article that you wrote, I believe, yesterday as we're recording. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I didn't talk to Clayton about what's going on here. So, and it's so funny because at this stage of the predictions, if you will, like in punditry, you would think some of these things would be locked up. But talk to me a little bit about this past weekend, because we'll get into the actual rankings and where you stand with that stuff too. This isn't final rankings either, just so everybody knows. I mean, we're
yes,
what?
I need everyone to know that this is not final.
I cannot
exactly be held in that contempt box. And listen, this is kind of where we are. And thanks for having me.
Of course, man.
I seen your stuff, and I think you're a very smart, intuitive dude. And I wore a Wicked hoodie just so I could impress you, because I know that you were a Wicked fan.
My God, I was.
And I had a hoodie handy, so I put it on. But when it comes to Oscar punditry, and it comes back to the fundamental reason why I do this, so I love movies, and we all love movies, and that's what it's all about. When it comes to predicting, stats are stats, right? You can follow the stats. Anyone can do that working from home. Watching from home, you see what won the race, blah, 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 blah. But the Oscar pundits, and there's not very many of us that actually do it through the trade magazine perspective, and I'm the chief awards editor of Variety, so I am doing this all year round. It's the added X factor is always talking to voters on the ground. Now there are 11,000 Academy voters. I don't speak to 11,000 of them. Speak to a good amount of them, and that's what. As soon as Oscar voting started, that's what I do. I just make phone calls, so many of them, and just talk to people all week long until voting's over, and then that will give you some insight onto potential upsets. And listen, I'll tell you during these power rankings, this is safe. Do this. I'm doing this. But
right.
If you want to win your Oscar pool, then go for this. But based on some information I have, may or may not be relevant, and we don't know the final rankings at the end. It's easy to say, Clayton, you were wrong. It would never meant anything, but it can mean something once in a while.
Well, one thing's for sure, regardless of what you or I or anybody, predicts or picks or bets on or anything like that, I never speak in absolutes during award season. I have learned that the hard way. No matter how sure I am of something, and actually some of them might come up tonight, it's really, really rare for me to be like, this is locked in, or I'm absolutely 100% sure this is happening. And that's sometimes even with the obvious races, we'll talk about the screenplays to start us out in a minute. Those are pretty locked in, but even I'm a little queasy even saying that sometimes, you know what I mean? Just because you just don't know. I mean, it's the way the wind is blowing when they cast their ballot. I mean, who knows? Voting is still open for a couple of days as we're recording.
I think we are undoubtedly in a moment where the Oscar ratings are actually probably going to be among the highest it's ever been. Because I think when Best Picture gets opened, I don't think we're going to know who it is. I love that. And the room and wins that happen early, you'll feel like, it told you something.
Hmm.
We're not going to know for sure. Now, some people will say they do. They really don't.
Of course.
You don't know because we don't know.
I just feel like you can look at all these spreadsheets and stats and everything, which is important, of course, just to see trends or whatever. But certain filmmakers are usually more successful, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I mean, it doesn't take much to shift momentum in a race. I mean, we just saw that this past weekend. That was a pretty good segue, wasn't it? I thought I did pretty good there.
There you go.
Because I was gonna ask you about the actor awards. I'll make sure to try to call it the actor awards.
No, you don't. I will say for the first top of this thing, the actor awards, and then I will say SAG the rest of the time.
It'll be SAG the rest of the episode probably. But you were there this past Sunday. I did want to kind of ask about a on-the-ground experience there and kind of witnessing that. We were talking about kind of feeling stuff on the night of, you were kind of mentioning that a second ago when it comes to the Oscars. So how did you feel? I mean, Sean Penn won kind of early, I think. I think you may have been the first one that was announced. So that looked good for one battle.
When it got to the film side, yeah.
The film, yeah. So by the time we got into those film awards, like how was the room? I mean, did you think that was going to happen for Sinners? Not your predictions necessarily, but like the feeling in the space.
So I did, because I predicted Sinners, I expected it to happen, and I felt the energy of Sinners the past few weeks, and I feel the momentum. And looking at the trajectory of the movie, I mean, this movie, it's March 3rd, the time that we're speaking. It came out 11 months ago.
I know.
And it feels rather fresh and new even right now, which is very, very hard to do. And feeling it in the room, there was an energy in there that, but again, it's a lot of actors around actors. They just all love everyone. But there are times when I've been in rooms like this before where something happens and it feels different. I wrote this. I said the DNA changed of the season. There was something about it that felt differently, and people always think we overestimate applause meters or how But I'm telling you, Michael B. Jordan, when he won, the room roared. It was a roar. People jumped to their feet. It just was everywhere. And that was when I knew what I had been feeling for weeks was confirmed. Because actually, and I say this, for me, a lot of times, I'm a student of the Oscar game, and even something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, when that first hit, I'm always going to assume that the Academy would do the wrong thing. And I was like, listen, I love this movie, but I got to see it happen in real time. We got flying dildos and butt plugs. There's no way they do this. And I needed to see it happen in real time. And then it did. Sinners was I was like that a lot for most of the season. I had nightmares daily that Ryan Coogler was going to miss director and Michael B. Jordan was going to miss actor. And then as we got closer to noms, I was like, okay, I kind of feel okay about them. I think they're okay. And then when we got to this part of the season, it just changed. There were so many things that just felt different. And in that room, when Michael B. Jordan won and the room erupted, I knew what I had felt was true. And I think the weekend also included PGA, right? And you talked about this. Let's say it was flipped. Sinners had one PGA and one battle had one ensemble. I don't think I would be predicting Sinners anymore because I wouldn't have felt that. And I had a hunch, obviously, and I was talking to people that seemed like it was going that way. But sometimes you need to see it happen, and then you go, okay, this is exactly kind of what it feels like. And again, that's a room full of actors. They're not all Oscar voters. I know that, whatever. But you hear a lot I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm going to get to it. Best Picture nominees. There are 3 movies. I could share this with you guys. Sentimental Value, Hamnet, and Secret Agent. Not consistently, but if I hear someone say I haven't gotten to that yet, it's those 3.
Oh, wow.
Because they're non-English language, 2 of them.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
And one of them has a length thing that people have to get through, and then another one's about a dead kid. So like it's a lot for people to hit play.
Well, let me tell everybody watching real quick before we shift to the power ranking. So people that watch my channel regularly, they know this, but we're going to go through the 6 top of the line categories. But then I did send Clayton a list of some categories that I don't know what the hell to predict, and I don't know if he feels more comfortable with those. But I want to talk a little bit about a few of those at the end. It'll be stuff like international feature, editing, sound, some stuff that I feel like is kind of still in a gray area as to what the front runner might be in those categories. There's 2 or maybe even 3 players in the mix. So the top 6 I did make slides for. We'll go through those. Now, just so everybody knows, in full disclosure, we're recording this on March 3rd, the Tuesday before voting ends for the Oscars, the winners. And the slides that are going to come up are my traditional red background slides that I always do. Those are my power rankings. They're not Clayton's. We're just going to use those as a jumping board to discuss the films. So let me bring up the first one, Clayton, and then we'll start off. And I was just telling you how I don't really like using lock, so I guess I should have come up with a different key down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
But the good news is there's only 2 of that little icon on this video tonight, and the first one is for the adapted screenplay. I've got PTA and One Battle winning this. I think the rest is really inconsequential. Do you see any path where that does not happen for PTA?
Yeah, what's interesting about this, sometimes when you're, listen, I know I don't like to use lock, but sometimes you're just like, yeah, someone's going to win something. And it kind of doesn't matter who number 2 is. And then you just kind of, whatever, you can rank them however you'd like. I think if I were betting on what I think number 2 is and probably where I'll end up in the final predictions when I release mine next week, I actually think Train Dreams is number 2. It's a purity choice for a lot of people that is contending in another category. And a lot of people really love that movie. Like, it
is good.
For a lot of people, it was a late discovery. It appeals to a lot of various demographics and branches. So that's just my educated guess. That it's Train Dreams, like Hamnet probably 3, and then the other 2 are like
right.
No matter what, people want to make sure that PTA and Ryan Coogler walk out with Oscars. So that's where
it. And that's right.
And by the way, I don't know if you know this, the order in which people vote on their ballots, the last 2 categories they vote on are adapted and original screenplay.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
The last 2 categories that they vote for.
So it was probably going to be the same commentary for this one. Our next slide is for original screenplay. Yep. And our boy Ryan Coogler, I think, is going to have an Oscar this year at a minimum for this. And I feel great about this. I mean, I do love the sentimental value score. I've already talked about how I'm kind of rooting for Panahi kind of, in the background. I mean, I would hate it for Coogler, but that would be crazy. I don't think Sinner's going to lose, though, especially with the current momentum, right?
Yeah, it's like it is a required package.
Yeah,
if it's going to win Best Picture. But sentimental value is undoubtedly number 2. So that's what makes this a little more interesting because we know what number 2 is. But I just don't think it's enough to matter. And I actually think Panahi's 5. I'm honest.
Yeah,
I think he's 5.
I agree with the international piece.
In both categories. Like that movie's like down. Like I won't say downfall, but like the buzz of how it was in my top 10 films of the year. I love it. Was just an accident, but. For a lot of people, they just didn't get to it or just didn't become a priority. And I wrote about this in anonymous Oscar ballots for nominations, and somebody saying, that movie never came up in my algorithm. Had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
So far we're all comfy cozy here. I tell you what, I'm gonna kind of mix up some slides because I feel like the only other category that's really probably going to be like, yeah, that's happening. At least I think is probably lead actress. And I've got a lock symbol on her too, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Again, I was going to put Rose Byrne the number 2 here. I think sentimental value might appeal more broadly with the international piece, and it did get a lot of nominations. So I don't really know honestly what's 2 and 3, but I just feel like Jessie Buckley is a sweeper. Especially. Yeah. I mean, she has been sweeping, so I don't see why she would lose here. Right. Yeah.
So I was at the Telluride Film Festival when that movie premiered, and it was one of those moments. And I know I say I hate the word lock, but I was like, oh, game over. Like we know. Okay, Best Actress, Jessie Buckley.
Yeah.
Clear that up really, really fast.
Yeah.
And I think that's been consistent. I do like. Is it a runaway, like such a plurality of the vote? That I'm not 100% sure. I actually think your 2, 3, and I think they're interchangeable, is Rose Byrne and Kate Hudson. I think they're
Okay.
interchangeable.
Is that because of the
Both
narrative of Hudson? And
both have a lot of friends in this industry. Like Kate
right.
Hudson, like
Okay.
her parents are Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Like that brings you around. I was actually
Sure.
just with her the other day. Actually, I have an interview with her on Extra that's posting on Thursday, and
Nice.
she has been around for so long. And people really do love her. Rose Byrne's worked a lot on the TV side. That's why SAG was like, for a lot of people, a little up for grabs for Rose Byrne, because it's SAG-AFTRA. It's a lot of TV folk also.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose Byrne's been big in that space. It's been really shocking for me this season, Renata Reinsve, that when I first saw Sentimental Value, I thought she was going to be the undoubted number 2 to Jessie Buckley. And in the way that Saoirse Ronan was number 2 for Brooklyn to Brie Larson's Room, I thought she was going to be like the runner-up everywhere. I quickly realized people's standouts from that. My standout of that movie was Renata and Elle Fanning, coincidentally. Everyone I spoke to were like, Inga Stellan. And Renata was like just like consistently the 3rd or 4th thing that gets brought up. So I actually think she's closer to the bottom. It's very, that's why I always say, like, you watch a season unfold, and this is a great example I'll even give you. Last year, I swore up and down all season that Ariana Grande was number 2 to Zoe Saldana. I was like, I even thought she was going to win an award or 2. I thought she would win like Globe and SAG, and Zoe would win BAFTA and something else, whatever. Like, I just thought it was going to like be that kind of split year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zoe bulldozed. But when I got to this moment that we're right now, and I started talking to voters, I found out pretty rapidly she was at best number 4.
Yeah, you told me that the other day. To your point too, I mean, people that get on you and definitely get on me, I don't get it, man. Because you got to take swings, you got to have fun with it. You can't go up and down like, oh, this is the basic, 24 picks, and if I do this, I'll get 18 right. So that's the percentage I want to get. It's like I always equate it to. I was talking to my wife about this the other day actually, because I was kind of down on myself for going 50% of the SAG, but I went for one battle to have the night, and Sinners had the night. I very easily knew it could have been Sinners. But I just, in my predictions, went the other way. And I was talking to her about
I also went 50%, and I did polar opposite.
Yeah, right.
I got all the I got actor, actress, ensemble right, and got everything else wrong below.
Oh, I got it. So we flipped. So if we had combined, we'd be 100%. We're good.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was telling my wife, I was like, I equate it to like, a NFL coach, 4th and 1, and they go for it, and if they get it, they're a hero. It's like, oh my God, we won the game because you went for it. But if they don't get it and they turn the ball over, they get fired the next day. Yeah, it's a very similar kind of mentality.
I tell people this very often. Like, the number of the amount you get right is like, yes, that's important. I care more about what call did you make. That's why one of my counterparts in this business is Scott Feinberg from THR. Him and I have been actually friends for like almost 20 years, and I always will respect Scott Feinberg because it's like does he have like weird calls? Sure, I have weird calls. But I will always remember he called The Blind Side in Picture. He called Jackie Weaver in Silver Linings Playbook. He called Jennifer Lopez Missing for Hustlers. Like, he has had a beat on certain things that people that like you're following stats, it doesn't equate to that. And you look at, he called Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I remember that too.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
Yes, like,
and also he was at a little bit of a disadvantage with some of those too, because that was really before like a social media uprising with all this stuff.
Yeah, too, like he was so on it, and I always like would give like respect when stuff like that happens. That's what I remember. I don't remember like I'll remember some dumb calls, but I will remember the great calls, right. And that's why my whole little claim to fame, I always say I was on TV, my first year at Variety, I was on ABC hosting the Oscar pre-show, and I got to warn the world that Chadwick Boseman was going to lose that night.
Oh no, I saw it.
I got to warn the world about it, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" And then people were like, oh, it's Viola Davis. I was like, no, it's Frances McDormand. It was complete anarchy. But, again, there's some great calls. I'm still here, knew that was kind of happening, and I pulled out at the last second. I'm always a creature. Yeah. I'm sure you're going back on your gut is the worst thing. Everyone, whatever you feel, just go.
I hate it, and I'm going to segue to the next category and tell you where I'm at with that one. But real quick, my buddy Matt, you probably know Matt from Next Best Picture, but
Matt. Anyway,
I'm friends with him. But he called Kate Hudson getting nominated, and I know you did too. But I think you took it out at the last second, right?
I took it out at the last minute because and I knew if I was taking her, I was dropping Chase, and I didn't want to drop Chase.
I didn't want to either.
But I knew if Kate Hudson was in, it was because of Chase. That Chase was going to be the one that missed.
Exactly the same mentality I had, and I knew how strong One Battle was. It would have been the only thing for Song Sung Blue. I wasn't super high on that movie, so I'm like, I get it, but I can't do it, And then it happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw my reaction, but I literally left. I left my desk. I had my headphones on so I could hear what was going on, but I was like, I can't even sit here. I don't want people to see how crazy this looks. So I will segue to a swing that I took back in shortly after the nominations got announced. Let me pull it up here. We'll talk about supporting actress next. There are some comps for certain Amy Madigan and Wunmi doing well and going on to the Oscar. But then you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, okay, well that matches with this, but Weapons didn't get any other nominations. So where does that factor into that comp? Or, okay, Wunmi's good, but she only has the BAFTA from a televised award. So what does that mean? Sinners has 16 nominations. Weapons has 1. So anyway, you start kind of playing with some intangibles or some abstracts. But what I was going to say is maybe like 3 or 4 days after the nominations came out, I said that I thought Wunmi was going to win the Oscar. And I can't even tell you the 50 or plus comments I got of like, what is this guy doing? Why would that happen? She hasn't won anything. She barely even got nominated, like blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, here's what's going to happen, or what I think's going to happen. If she can go on and win the BAFTA based on her British lineage, they nominated her for His House, blah, 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 blah. And that ended up happening. So now I'm in a situation, I want to ask you, Clayton, your advice. So now I'm in a situation where it's like, it actually looks more appealing that Amy would win this based on the research I did today and her veteran kind of, lineage in Hollywood. But I'm like, well, if I go off Wunmi, right, and she wins, and I called it in January, I'm going to be heartbroken because I'm going to be like, I had that, and I let it go. So what do I do there? Where are you at in this category?
Okay. You want life advice, and this is hard.
It's therapy for me, man.
Listen, I will say, once nominations were announced, I was on the train with you of like, Wumi's viable. We need to like let that cook and see how viable that can become.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So like, you had a good instinct, like watch out for Wunmi. Now, I did my analysis after SAG, which you shared that you read.
Yep,
and
I have it pulled up here too.
And the way I predict, and this is just like Clayton Davis.
Sure.
The way I say your predictions have to tell me a story. What happened on the day? So you can't look at a singular category. Again, for me, I can't look at a singular category and just say what happens here. It's what happened everywhere. So if you are, like me, a Sinners is winning Best Picture person, you have to assume that Wunmi is much more viable than you think she would be. If you're a One Battle person, or you think that One Battle is going to win, or depending on how many you think it's going to win, then certain things come into play. Now, Amy Madigan is the sole nominee of her movie, and she missed the BAFTA
Short
nomination. She got on the long list. She didn't get nominated in a field of 6. That has like haunted me slightly. It haunts me more that she's a sole nominee for her movie, because the last time we had a sole nominee win in supporting actress was Penelope Cruz, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which by the way has an asterisk because it happens only by accident because Kate Winslet gets kicked to lead for the reader. And if Kate Winslet's there, Kate Winslet beats Penelope Cruz 10 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went back and said, okay, if Sinners is winning Best Picture, has there ever been a time that an actor who is a sole nominee for their movie beat a performance from the Best Picture winner, specifically?
And
last time that happened, speaking of Kate Hudson, Goldie Hawn, 1969, won for Cactus Flower, and beat Sylvia Miles for Midnight Cowboy, which is like a glorified cameo anyway. So then you start bringing it to other factors. Amy's 75 years old. She's married to Ed Harris. Everybody knows Amy Madigan. Like, she is like, people are like so happy for her. Woomy gets a boost from being those people that are sinners down the line that like, I'm just going sinners all day, every day. But I've also spoken with voters that are like all in on Sinners. They went, like, there was someone specifically that did Sinners in picture, director, Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and voted for Tiana Taylor. So,
well, I will say, just so I don't want to forget this thought, and then you can finish. But I will say that it was strange to me that, I was really thrilled that Michael B. Jordan won there, even though I didn't predict it. I didn't care. I was very happy for him. But it was strange to me that Woonmi didn't win with all that really good success that Sinners was getting at the SAG. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So my buddy said this to me, and it like made sense, and hopefully I can make it sound just as good as it sounded to me. He said Woonmi is a consolation prize for A Night of Sinners. Michael B. Jordan is the reason why it wins Best Picture. If you're predicting Sinners for Best Picture, if you're going to do the Hail Mary like Clayton Davis is, I'm taking Picture, Jordan, and either Delroy or Woonmi, and then you have to kind of pick one. Based on The Room, and just going by The Room, I think Amy Madigan did it. And the closest comparison I remember was I was at the SAG Awards when Jamie Lee Curtis won. And I remember the exact moment she said, I know some people are like, oh my God, why'd you give it to her? I'm 64 years old. And at that moment I said to myself, and I think I said to the person next to me, I was like, she just gave everyone permission to not vote for Angela Bassett. Like, she just did it right now. Like, people always overestimate or undervalue a speech and what a speech could do.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
There are moments where they're like, you just gave us permission to do something. And Amy Madigan was like, if we don't do Woonmi, that's fine. We'll do Amy Madigan. We'll get you next time, Woonmi. Tiana, I find to be, for someone that was really early, really strong, really hard to come back to think that she's going to do this with just a Globe win. Last time that happened was George Clooney for Syriana. By the way, was triple nominated that year for directing and screenplay on top of that. So then it doesn't happen very often. Right. And with Sean Penn winning at BAFTA, with One Battle doing what it did, and you look at it this way, and maybe this is the simplest way to say it. Amy's beaten Tiana once at Critics' Choice. Tiana has beat Amy at Globe. Woonmi beat Tiana at BAFTA, and Amy's beat both of them at SAG.
Right.
Amy's won twice. She's beaten both of them twice. I think it's okay to go with Amy Madigan. But you could do you could do Woonmi. You really could.
And it would make sense.
Early in the week, I thought Woonmi had it already. Like, I was ready to be like, I think I know that Woonmi after SAG, when I was talking to voters, I was like, I think Woonmi has it. Like, you get that feeling like she has it. But now I'm like, I kind of think Amy got it.
SAG, for whatever faults in terms of like trying to look at historical data and stuff, they don't miss. I mean, 9 out of the last 10 years, the SAG winners won in this category. The only time it didn't was when Emily Blunt wasn't even nominated at the Oscars for A Quiet Place. And I actually think if she'd gotten nominated that year, she may have won there too. But she didn't because, horror film, whatever. So
yeah. Anytime Amy's been somewhere where it's like home field advantage, which were Critics' Choice and SAG, she's won. And I
Hmm.
think she won. And like I predicted Woomi in the end at SAG, and I was really on Amy, and it was one of those last minute like, damn it, I should have just stuck with it. I think she kind of blew out the competition when it comes to SAG. I think she was like an overwhelming choice,
Yeah,
but again, you don't know.
yeah, you don't know. In this category, I think she is the clear. Like, if you look at, you can't see it, but if you look at the spreadsheet I have, I mean, she wins. I mean, based on what I'm looking at, right? But then the
You don't
stuff
have
that's not,
critics wins,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, the CCA and the SAG really,
yeah,
and versus what the other two in the category have really done. I mean, Winmi has BAFTA, which arguably maybe is a little bit stronger, but it's also all she has, right?
yeah.
But
And
also,
also, I always tell people this: like 51. This is not saying that I agree, and it should be like this. 51% of this typically is the performance, and then 49% is prom king and queen, like it's
hmm
popularity.
hmm
Umi and Tayana are like very unfamous, like in traditional standards, right?
I get
Like a
it.
lot of people in
Yeah,
Hollywood don't know who they are.
I get it.
Um, and I knew Tayana like when she did 1001, and I knew
Oh yeah,
Umi even before His House. But it gets hard, like to really, Elle Fanning has a lot of like the LA advantage, but like Amy's just winning by such a plurality of that. The thing with Amy is that she's a sole nominee for her movie. You
yep.
have to watch her movie, and she shows up to the last 30 minutes of her movie.
Yeah.
So, and it's genre bias on top of that. So, I think the closest comparison you can probably come to, because like Christopher Plummer, when he did, like he swept the season. Like it was just like he's a sweeper. Amy Madigan wasn't a sweeper,
Right.
but maybe in a very weird way, it's like Marissa Tomei, My Cousin Vinny. Like it's a zeitgeisty performance. Like people know
Talk about
Aunt
it.
Gladys. Yeah,
Dress
people
up
talk
like
about Aunt
her. Yeah.
Gladys. And
Yeah.
again, it's Amy Madigan. Like
Yeah.
who's gonna get mad about Amy Madigan having an Oscar? Like nobody. But BAFTA means something. Like BAFTA
It
doesn't
does.
mean nothing. You
It
know,
does.
and I think people dismissing it and just be like, "Oh, she's British." Like, no,
That's dangerous. That's
like,
dangerous. And I don't
like
want to do that either. It's dangerous.
I need people to stop disregarding wins when they happen as just like,
Yeah.
oh, it doesn't matter. Like every win, goddamn matters.
Exactly.
Every single one.
I mean, just last year, that's what Mikey Madison did. She only got the BAFTA. Now she had the Best
Yep.
Picture winner, which would go to
Yeah, and
the other side of what
that's
we're
the
saying.
thing.
But
Whatever show is the final show, whether it happens in the middle of voting, whatever that final, because SAG was not the final show. It was final show, but it happened after Oscar voting closed last
the
year.
voting was closed. Right.
BAFTA was the last show, and Mikey Madison won.
Mm-hmm.
That last dip can matter a ton.
Mm-hmm. Right now, just because my viewers might be wondering, right now I am saying Wunmi Misaki, but by the time I do my final predictions, I could have shifted to Amy. I just got to really think about that one because, it's one that I went out for. If it was just like nothing I had really made a swing for, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But I just really want to think about it. So since we're on the supporting, and this one might not be as difficult, let's talk about supporting actor real quick.
The fact that you said it's not difficult, look at you.
Well, I mean, not as difficult, but I guess it still comes with difficulties. But it's so funny because, and I was looking at your article earlier today that you wrote yesterday, but I know that you're really high on Delroy right now too, and I will say that to speak on that, even though he doesn't have anything on paper, I always. My viewers know I always talk about the basket that these nominees have. They're bringing their basket with them and what's in it, What do you have to show us that you belong here, kind of, And whether you like it or not, he doesn't have anything right now from a precursor standpoint. So what he does have, though, is that I think everybody, probably people that didn't even like Sinners, were like over the moon, beyond thrilled when he got nominated. I know I was, and I wasn't nowhere near predicting that. And when that happened, I mean, I jumped up. I was just so excited, as if it was like my dad that just got nominated. I mean, it was just like a thrilling moment, And can that carry all the way through to right now when they're voting? I'm not really sure, but I do know that it was really exciting when he got the nomination, and he should have had that by now anyway. So it's like we're kind of making up for past sins. So he does have that piece, which is like an abstract kind of narrative piece. That's why I've got the Flame next to him, and he was my number 5 really since the nominations came out until this week. And I'm like, you know what? There's something going on with Delroy, and I want to ask you about your take on it. But real quick, with the Sean Penn thing for me, And I'm not saying I won't change it before next week, but right now I'm just like kind of looking at it like this is what's in front of me, and he's got SAG and BAFTA, which are the two. I've always said that's a lethal, like deadly combo for anybody to have. And it's not like this is a new dude that nobody knows. I mean, it's just Sean Penn, one of the greatest alive. Whether, his personal life and all that stuff creeps in, I'm not sure. But from an acting standpoint, the dude knows what he's doing,
Yep.
Where are you at on this category? I know I think, I don't want to misquote you, but I want to say you did predict Delroy on your article, right? Or
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so go ahead. So where are you at on this?
In my conversation with voters up until this point, I think this is a race between Delroy and Stellan. I actually don't think Sean is happening. And this is
wow, okay.
And there's a couple of reasons, like what leaves, like there's stats, and then there's like the vibes, and then there's like just conversation with voters. Sean Penn is, I'd argue, the purity choice of the category. Like, I was predicting him before the season like really got cooking. I thought he was going to win. And I thought it would just be one of those that like, okay, he steamrolls and just we know what, like Sean Penn's going to win a third Oscar. With that said, then he didn't win some stuff. And yes, he won. There are a lot of stats that are really tied to this. Sean Penn, yes, he won BAFTA and SAG, but no one has, in this category, has ever won the Oscar with only SAG and BAFTA in this category.
That's
which is
crazy.
like a very, now sometimes that's like coincidental stats, right? I call it, some things are coincidental stats, like whatever. Yu Jun did it, by the way. Yu Jun did it with SAG and BAFTA for Minari, yeah. So now starts coming into some other things. He has won twice. Do you remember the 49% I talked about before? 49% prom king and queen? This is a guy who has won twice, but has not given a speech. He wasn't there. That matters. Like, if they can't, like, because we also can't judge by the room. Now you could say, oh, he won, it didn't matter. But he won, yes, he won two very big awards. And I'm not saying they don't matter, because I just said a second ago, what you win does matter. But this is a guy that 2 years ago was like, I'm going to smelt my Oscars, who's been very vocal and outspoken in his disdain for like the Academy. People know that. And there are a lot of people who don't like Sean Penn. And it's not like you're giving it to him for like, it's not a career win. He's won twice.
Right.
So people, I am gathering through a lot of the conversations, why give him a third when you can give Stellan or Delroy a first? And again, with the Michael Sinner's trajectory and Michael B. and Delroy, we've never seen him go up against any of these guys. And I'm talking also award strategists who have other dogs in the fight that like they're trying to, and a lot of them are saying like, I think Delroy got it. I actually think Delroy has it. And if Delroy loses, I think it's the Stellan Skarsgård. I think that is the Globe revert back. Now, obviously, I can't remember the last Globe winner without a SAG nom and a BAFTA loss that actually pulled it off. That particular set, I think that's unprecedented. But it really is. I think Delroy Lindo is Marcia Gay Harden, but Marcia Gay Harden in a possible Best Picture frontrunner, like that is really like, that means something. The people are rooting for Delroy. It was very strategic. Wasn't by accident that he spoke at SAG.
Oh, for sure.
When it won Ensemble.
And he's been presenting at all the televised shows. He's been on stage, and the BAFTAs, and they had that incident.
People are excited for him. They're happy for him. And I did a feature on him in this Phase 2 period. And like he's like I call it like he's Unk. Like he's the best. Like it's just like he's 73 years old. Like how are you not gonna love Unk? Like he's like a wise man that like tells us like the greatest stories. He should have been here before. I think people kind of want to give it to him.
I mean, I would not be mad about it at all. And actually, I had him predicted really, really early on with my very early predictions back in like April, May, June, and
Yeah,
when it started kind of materializing with on the circuit and film festivals, and people started handing out critics prizes and stuff. He wasn't showing up, and he was missing, and Miles Caton, his young co-star, got in over him at the SAG, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess we'll have to wait for the next Delroy project. They're still not going to give it to him. So
yeah,
I was thrilled when it came back around, and he, had this resurgence for Sinners. So I love the dude, and I would love to see it happen. I just That's just such a huge crossover with the Academy when you look at SAG and BAFTA together. And that's interesting that you said that you don't think anybody's done with those two only, though. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's supporting actor. It's never happened. No
In
one's
that
ever won
category, yeah.
SAG and BAFTA only and done it.
Just
And by the way, I predict my final predictions. I will travel down the ballot in the presentation in which it presents itself,
mhm.
and which is why I'm a little off Woomy. Also, it's picture, actor, supporting actor, actress, supporting actress. And if you go Sinners, Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, then you do Jessie Buckley. I don't know if you revert back to Woomy. You might say to yourself, I just gave Sinners a lot of stuff.
I gave him 3. Mm-hmm.
I just gave him a lot of stuff. So maybe I'm going to throw, here's Tiana a bone, here's Amy Madigan a bone, whatever that happens. And
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
This is obviously hypothetical because I know you are going with Sinners at least right now. But let me ask you hypothetically. So if One Battle is the best picture, do you still think Delroy would win this? Or would it then be Sean Penn or maybe even Stellan at that point?
If One Battle was winning, I would say Delroy could still win, but he would be the only acting winner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The key to it, I think, what I find very strange that I see some people doing is predicting One Battle with Michael B. winning actor.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems so weird to me. Like, really, really weird.
You think they go together?
I think Michael B. is the reason why that movie's winning Best Picture. And if you don't think it's winning Best Picture, do not pick Michael B. That's just my take right now.
Because right now I am. So I'm glad we're having this conversation.
I mean, a lot of people are. And it seems so, it's Russell Crowe Gladiator. That's what, he got swept in with the movie and then that was it. And
I guess in my mind, I was like tying Sinners more to like Coogler, I guess, in my mind, but I don't have Coogler winning director either though right now. So, that doesn't really pan out either.
I think if One Battle won in the end, did Sean win? Yeah, maybe. But again, just based on my conversations, and I don't, I'm not talking about 10,000, but I feel aggressively and talking to people that it's not Sean. And if it is someone, it's Delroy or Stellan.
I wonder what the possibility of Stellan doing that would be, though, because he does have the Globe, which, one way or another on paper at least makes him a little bit stronger than Delroy.
What bothers you is the thing that bothers me. He had no business losing BAFTA. None whatsoever.
I don't understand that.
And that literally, when that happened, I went, oh my God, he's completely unviable. It's over. But I go back to something I said earlier in the season when I said the international splitting votes. I think that's still somewhat true. And maybe the international is kind of split between Stellan and Sean. People say, oh, Sean's an American thing, but it's not really so much that. It's just the performance they want to reward. And I think it's an interesting conundrum that's happening. And I don't really know what it actually means in the end, but I just feel this overwhelming surge for Delroy Lindo. I really feel I would say weirdly, I feel better about Delroy than I do about Michael B.
That's crazy. I would ask you though, because I honestly, because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, but I'll ask you in case you can confirm it.
Yeah.
But if Delroy were to win this, and regardless of anything else that happens with picture, director, or anything, just if he were to win this category, that would be unprecedented, right? Because even Marcia Gay Harden was.
No, Marcia Gay Harden. No, it's exactly Marcia Gay Harden.
Okay,
Marcia Gay Harden,
it's the same thing. Okay.
Actually, he is better off than Marcia Gay Harden, actually, technically, because Delroy has 3 Critics Prizes, I think, at least. You
and
know,
in the
on the
Best
season.
Picture or 16 nominated film. So,
But I would just say, like, on a singular individual basis, I think
hmm
he has like 3 precursors or something like that. Marcia Harden had absolutely nothing, like
right.
nothing. I think she
And
was
there
the
was a
runner-up. She was the runner-up at New York Film Critics Circle, I think.
in that season there was a different winner for this category or for her
There's a
category
different
every
winner at every show. That was the
yeah
only time that we have 4 different winners at all the televised award shows. Frances
yeah
McDormand won Critics' Choice. Kate Hudson won Globe. Julie Walters won BAFTA. Judi Dench won SAG.
yeah right. You give me a lot to think about, really, man. I just and that's why I wanted to have you on because I want to kind of hear this perspective that obviously I don't get out there. You know, I'm on the East
Yeah.
Coast, but
But again, I think smart choice. The smart
right. I mean,
prediction top 10.
that's what I'm
Again,
struggling with.
like,
You know, it's like,
I'm not
man,
like, telling people like, oh, you should predict Delroy. Like, no.
yeah, no, I get it.
On paper, I would look at them like, no, this makes no sense. He's
Well,
5.
I'm sure
based on
you.
the
Right, I'm sure you didn't tell a bunch of people to predict Isabel Rossellini last year. You know,
Yeah, I
you
told
just
people
felt
not to.
it.
I was
You
like,
just
please do
felt
not
it,
follow
right?
me on
Yeah,
this.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, lead actor, thanks for reminding me. So Timothy Chalamet, I do want to talk to you about this one because this is another one where it's like on paper it's kind of saying one thing, but the momentum or the kind of like peaks and valleys of Timmy's campaign is really kind of perplexing to me. I
Yep.
do know that the surge for Sinners has a lot to do with that, and you know what happened this past weekend, you know, only helped Sinners versus Timmy here. I do think Wagner Moore is interesting too. Honestly, of the three, just like Timmy's probably got the least amount of passion behind him right now. Like between Mora, him, and Jordan, probably.
Yeah. If you have been following me all season, since September for a good amount of it, since September and then a good amount of the season, I was predicting Ethan Hawke
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
to win. And there were a couple weeks I switched to Timmy that I was like, oh, Timmy just might do it. But then I switched back to Ethan Hawke. And I think people, and maybe I couldn't really articulate it like this at the time, but now I definitely can say it with more certainty. It wasn't that I was confident that Ethan Hawke would win. I was very confident that Timmy would lose.
Mm-hmm. And who's he going to lose to? Right.
It was just a matter of who. I didn't know who he's going to lose to. And he won Critics' Choice and Globe, which I predicted both those things, that he would win. I knew the turn would happen back to SAG. Coincidentally, I think he lost to the worst possible person at BAFTA, Robert Aramayo. It was actually, I think people wanted to just, again, people on the internet loving to dismiss something and just be like, he's a British guy, it doesn't matter. Like, it was the worst possible thing because Sinners walked into BAFTA with a get out of jail free card in terms of we never expected Sinners to do well at BAFTA.
Right.
It's a black movie. And as we saw happen at BAFTA,
right.
they do some really rude stuff to black people there.
They double down on it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they even double down on it sometimes. So we didn't expect. I didn't consider Michael B. Jordan. I actually predicted Leo to win at BAFTA, which actually would have been really detrimental because I think if Leo had won BAFTA, Michael B. won SAG, I'd be probably predicting Leo right now. But I think, looking at your rankings, I think, based on my conversation, this is really all over the place. But I think it's really only between Michael, Leo, and Ethan.
Oh, so not even Wagner Moore, even. Oh,
I mean, Wagner, yeah, he's getting votes. And there's some times I feel like he is getting a good boost until I feel better about international feature. That will tell me the story of where Wagner Moore ends up. But I think if I'm really honest, I think Wagner's 4 or 5. I think Timmy's like 4. Like, that's and crazy. And people talk about like, so how did this happen? He, like, Best Actress likes him young, likes him to be young, on the younger side. Best Actor is the opposite. They like you to be older.
Right.
He is, I'd say he's 30 years old, but he's 7 years old in Oscar years. Like, he'd be the second youngest winner ever. And I thought he was kind of maybe going to do it last year because it was a biopic. I thought that would be the thing that could get him over. And he couldn't even do it then. This is like, a lot of people aren't fans of the movie. 9 nominations, like people are like, "What do you mean they don't like the movie?" Billy Perez had 13 nominations. I've learned that a lot of people didn't like that movie. Like
Right.
you learn things once the nominations are set, then you start hearing that. Timmy also, campaign methods are not traditional. Now,
Right.
we never saw or really got a good sense of the aftermath of his SAG speech because voting was closed. It was divided. It was very split. Some people thought, "Yeah, that's really cool that he did that," and some people were like, "What the hell was this guy talking about?" And
Hmm.
there is a cockiness about him. He's a little bit of overexposed at the moment.
Hmm.
And I just think they wait, and I say it most simply this way: they made Leo wait until he was 41 years old and climbed into a dead carcass before they
Yeah.
gave him an Oscar. They're not giving it to Timmy for this.
Right.
Like, they're just going to make him wait. And I find him unviable in the race. Like, if he had won SAG, I'd be like, okay, I think he might pull it off. I think he's Angela Bassett right now.
Hmm.
Angela Bassett won Globe, Critics' Choice, and then it ended, and it was over.
Yeah. Right.
And I didn't predict Angela in the end. I actually went Carrie Condon because I knew if I took Jamie, I would have to take editing for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that's the story you got to tell.
You start playing with your
You
mind
start
games.
playing with that, and things go together. And
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan, the seismic feeling of that moment was just. And by the way, he's 39 years old. He may look young. 39 years old, that's about the age they like you. And that he's been around for a while, should have arguably been here like 3 times, once before. Like, I think Michael B. did it. I think he did it.
I think he's in the driver's seat now too, and I just obviously turned that corner with the SAG results because I did have Timothy, all season pretty much until then. I think I said this on a live stream I did it was a private one I did with my members yesterday or earlier. Yeah, last night. But I said that, if you can tell yourself or if there was any way to quantify or find out if Timothy was second at BAFTA, since he lost to somebody that's not on the Oscar ballot, then you could maybe be like, okay, well, he got more votes than anybody else that's Oscar nominated. And you could tell yourself, there's no way to know that, though. So, we're never going to know that, whether that's true or not.
And I don't think I explained why Robert Armeo was the worst person to lose to. It was an active rejection of the choices that were there, that they went with someone else that wasn't even Oscar nominated. And people keep saying, but like, all right, we're going to assume Timmy was 2. I'm sorry, why are we assuming that Timmy was 2? Because that movie went 0 for 11. Like, I think Leo was 2. Like, I think he might have been 2. But I agree. Now, I still think Leo's going to get. And this is another thing. Leo's going to get one battle truther votes that are just I'm going one battle top to bottom. Timmy's movie in the 8 other categories at highest is number 3 in production design, and every other category it's 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it's going to blind.
There's no passion for that movie.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about that? I should have known that anyway, Clayton, because every year, well, except for the Honora year, I guess, last year. But every year, whatever my favorite, the category is blanks. So, Marty's my favorite this year of the ones that got nominated for Best
Picture. This is going to be crazy.
So, of course, it's not going to win anything.
2 years in a row.
Yeah, I know,
2 years in a row, his movies are going to blank. But, listen, he's going to win an Oscar one day. We know that. But, I think they, listen, you can change up the way you campaign. You want to do things differently that, I appreciate that. But when you're the only one that's changing up the game, it's not going to be always embraced and this is such a great innovative way to do it. For a lot of people, they're like, what is this? I don't want, I don't want to do this. He's some people just see him as a cocky kid. And
that the marketing for him, not even necessarily for Marty Supreme, but the marketing for him. Now, I love it because I eat that shit up on TikTok, and my daughter's a huge fan of his, so we share that kind of fandom. And I love it, but I'm also not voting in the Oscars. You know what I mean? I'm not casting.
Listen, I went on the blimp. I went on the orange blimp. It was awesome.
I love that shit. But at the same time, it's oversaturation, right? It's everywhere you turn. He's doing another Q&A, or
or
he's almost like he's trying too hard.
Or doing a little, and he wants it, and he lets it be known that he wants it. So that's what also it comes off like you're trying to change it up, and then you're still asking.
I could see it. I mean, especially when you have, veterans that are just chilling with their bourbon glass like Ethan Hawke and they're not saying anything. They're just
Yeah,
cool.
and then the thing here,
You
you're
know?
gonna have Timmy standing there, and Ethan Hawke, 5-time nominee, hasn't won an Oscar yet.
Right.
Like walk out the door, like that's what I'm saying. Ethan could have done it, but he needed to do it at SAG. I think he's still somewhat in it because people really like Ethan Hawke, but I think it's just Michael B.
Here's one of those categories that I know we differ on, this one in picture also, because I know you're kind of going all in on Sinners, at least right now, based on the article that you just wrote recently, your most recent one. So I do have PTA still, and One Battle when we get to picture. Spoiler alert, I do also have that one at the top spot. But I do want to hear from you because I'm really basing mine a couple things. So obviously the haul, right? What's happened? I mean, what they have, what One Battle's been winning. It's been, pretty dominant, especially in the televised precursors, with the exception of the SAG, of course. And there is something to be said for that specific one because it's the one that just happened and voting is still happening. It's still going on. So that makes it a little more important, and I understand that. But the whole sentiment around it's PTA's time and this is his year, that's really been going on since the movie came out, or really before it, honestly. And the fact that it was so wholly embraced once it did come out, whether you're talking about reviews or just the general kind of feeling around that production and, Adam Sumner's involvement and losing him last year, and just, it just feels like that's the movie that is going to be lifted up by the majority, at least. But I will tell you that even if that ends up being true, and it is One Battle, I will tell you that I believe it is razor thin. Like, I think if Sinners or One Battle, whichever one is number 2, I feel like it's literally the strongest number 2 in the history of the Oscars. Like, I feel like it's like a 51-49 vote. I mean, it's like really close.
Think, let me just say, man, that is literally the point I've been trying to make for the last week and a half to the internet, that people don't want to acknowledge. It's a race. Right. And smart money is on PTA, but it's a race. And I think there are a few, PTA is a smart choice because of the haul. Again, stats guy, right? How does he that? It'd be probably the biggest upset in Oscar history from a stat standpoint. In razor thin races like this, that little bit of difference can matter. But I come back to the fundamental question that I've asked myself since the day nominations were announced. What does 16 nominations mean? And I don't believe it's nothing.
Right.
And what I have found is there are many people who will continuously say to me, my top 2 are Sinners, One Battle, Sinners, One Battle, Sinners, One Battle. I hear a lot of that, which really comes to the point of oh my God, it really is close. But I found a few times when they were listen, I really love Sinners, I love One Battle, blah, blah, blah. When they do that back and forth, I found more times than not, they go, I'm just going to give my vote to Ryan and Sinners because they're rooting for Ryan. Not so much the movie. They want Ryan to succeed. And it's going to, again, I have a few more conversations to have over the next 2 days. I think Ryan's going to do it. I really do. I do. I think he's going to pull. It's going to be such. I always say this, and this people may have heard me say this before. If I ever get some deranged disease that I'm going to die, I'm going to do a Make-A-Wish. And my Make-A-Wish is going to go to the Academy and say, open the books to me. Let me see the tallies for everything. I'll go out with it. Just let me see everything.
The JFK tapes or whatever, right?
Just let me see it. I'll go. Take it to my grave. I need to know. Because I'm telling you, I believe this is single digits. That's how
right.
it is.
I agree. Can I ask you, though, I feel like everything you said is true, and also not only trying to read the room, if you will, using that phrase, but and the room being, the voters or the industry, but also, from my perspective, too, it helps to kind of put myself in those shoes, because I'm the same way where, I am rooting for Ryan, even if I'm not predicting him, where it's if I was wrong and he won, it's going to be a euphoric moment, just like when Delroy got the nomination. It's just going to feel great, and it's going to be great for him, and I'm going to be thrilled, and whatever. But I guess my question to you is, I feel like that's equally for PTA though, right? With his kind of 14 nomination, no win. I mean, the dude is an auteur that's been turning out some of the greatest films that have ever been made.
Like listen,
you know what I mean?
he's been nominated 11 times. He hasn't won. He's on 12, 13, and 14 now. Yeah, I mean, I go back to a few conversations I had with Black voters, especially in the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the one column, my Ryan podcast and the article that's on the site, I actually quoted Academy voter. Black filmmaker says, I know me and a lot of other of my, I'm paraphrasing here, but me and a lot of my other cohorts have dreamed about being the first Black person to hold a director statue on that stage. Like, it's been a dream. We imagined that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be great for Ryan. But what they also said was, we're at the 98th year. Clayton Davis' year in advance predictions blind the week after the Oscars, and then he closes the book, right? But I looked at the year ahead. It doesn't look great from a diversity standpoint in terms of filmmakers. So, and what he said was, if we got to year 100, you're telling me nobody was worthy? And that entire time, 100 direct, like nobody?
Mm-hmm.
And this is an opportunity to do something. And again, back to the fundamental question, what does 16 nominations mean? You're going to let that guy get the consolation screenplay prize? Like, thanks for playing? Like, I think there is like a groundswell. And the thing, PTA is writing his next movie right now. And Brian is the 7th Black man ever nominated in this category. And as great as he is, and I think he is going to be the defining filmmakers of our time, there is, by historical standards, sad truth, there is no guarantee he'll ever be back here.
Sure.
Like, because none of them have ever come back. Barry Jenkins won Best Picture. He didn't get nominated again. They passed on him for Beale Street. Steve McQueen, first Black man to win as a producer for 12 Years a Slave, hasn't been back yet. Like, like, for the most nominated film of all time, like, it's not like it. If it was at 13, like One Battle, I'd be like whatever, like let it go. Like, but it was. I predicted 15. It did one better.
Yeah, same here. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it did one better. I'm like, damn.
Another thing too that's like, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, and it would be historic too. In addition to just being a really cool win for Ryan Coogler, and for the film, but like also I always get in my head when I'm like picking something or wanting something to happen that involves the Academy doing the right thing. Yeah. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't happen all the time,
it's called hope dictating. For a lot of people say that, like, you're hope dictating something. And listen, personally, and I've released this back in December, I have, like, if I had an Oscar ballot, who would I vote for? And like Ryan, from the fundamental, like from my personal standpoint of the achievements of the year, he's in my personal 5, but I wouldn't have voted for him in this, in my personal rankings. And I felt like this with Will Smith the year with King Richard. He was my favorite performance of the year, but like, I wanted Will Smith to win an Oscar because I knew it meant something.
Well, sure,
and,
right.
Like, and some people say like it should be about the achievement, like, and it is, because Ryan winning is not a bad winner. It's going to be a dope win.
Exactly.
It's going to be one of the dopest wins of all time for a horror movie, no less, about vampires. Like no way.
Such a unique genre bending. Yeah, historical. It's got the historical American history piece in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I also say this: they have to pass this movie 16 times on their ballot. Right. 16. Like, One Battle's in 12 because it's double nominated in one. They have to go by 16 times. And you think they're gonna be like, nope. Like, yeah, there are gonna be people that just go, you know what? Give them to Ryan.
So let's do it. I Am Crazy then. Here we go. All right. So I'll tell you my haul at the end, which I didn't make a slide for, but I'll pull it up on my phone, and then you can tell me if I truly am crazy. But let me go to Best Picture. So I am sticking with PTA right now, just so my viewers know. I just feel like the precursor haul is really hard for me to look past, but everything Clayton's saying I actually agree with. So it's kind of internal struggle I'm just going to have with, which is the case with a lot of these categories, to be honest. So same concept, or at least for my slide here for picture when it comes to one battle. I had the stats here, but I mean PGA, BAFTA, Globe, Critics' Choice, front runner in the regional critics groups, DGA for PTA as well. I'm assuming WGA for adapted when we get that next weekend. So every single industry guild has gone with one battle, with the exception of SAG, which is the actors, right? So I know that you're going with Sinners, which I'm assuming is just kind of an add-on to the commentary you just gave. But where are you at, like on a confidence level with that? In other words, do you think they're going to go together, or do you think a split could happen?
Oh, I think a split could definitely. A split Sinners PTA.
Mm-hmm.
Split, definitely not a one battle Ryan Coogler wins director split. I would that would be the most jaw-dropping split of all time.
That would be crazy,
because actually we're in the Parasite 1917 territory. And remember that year, a lot of people predicted a Parasite Sam Mendes split, or they did 1917 and both, but I saw like a couple people do like 1917 picture Sam Mendes director. I was like, absolutely not. That would not happen. Like, there's certain things that like, no. If Ryan Coogler won director,
it's got picture, right?
He won picture. So that'd be the only telling thing of the night. If I saw Ryan Coogler win director, I'm like, oh shit, Sinners won picture. I'm right. I'm good. But you don't know. I'm looking at your ranking though, which is interesting because it's a preferential ballot, and I believe, I guess how I predict, your best picture, because it's preferential ranking, the way you have them ranked informs what is number one. And so I'm trying to talk math and it's terrible, but
that's okay.
Like Train Dream, they give Train Dreams at number 10. And in this scenario, you're saying that it gets eliminated first, that it gets the least amount of number one votes, right? Which I actually think it's higher, but let's just say, for argument's sake, say that you're right.
Mm-hmm.
So then you ask yourself, that movie's eliminated. Now they take the 2s and 3s and everything from that. What kind of voter is a Train Dreams voter? What's number 2 on a Train Dreams ballot? Like,
right.
You may say, like, they may go like, maybe Hamnet, sentimental value. They're a little into the softer things. They're an indie person. Maybe they go Secret Agent. They're really for that. Where does Sinners and One Battle rank for them? I think they would lean more towards the Sinners. I'm not saying Sinners number 2. I just think Sinners would be higher on their ballots than One Battle after another. Possible.
Sure.
But then you go to F1. F1 gets eliminated next. What's 2s and 3s on those ballots? I think an F1 guy is a one battle guy.
Probably.
Like I think they probably go for that. I also think they're probably a Frankenstein person too. I've thought this for a while. I think Marty and One Battle eat into each other. I think they're the same voter demographic.
I think so too. Actually, yeah, I think so too.
So you just keep doing all this. Like this is like one of the rare times I think it's going to go through multiple rounds. And I think the way you eliminate is going to inform what is winning picture.
Those votes. Right.
Yeah, and I actually think F1 gets eliminated first, which is going to look like it gives One Battle a very early lead. I don't know what has the most number 1 votes off the bat. But I think it's like F1, then Begonia. No, sorry. Yeah, then Begonia, then Frankenstein. Frankenstein, actually, it's very interesting because I think like they can go both, but I think it leans slightly towards Sinners because it's horror.
Right.
Guillermo's kind of a horror genre guy. So then the next on that docket might be Marty Supreme, but actually I think it probably is Secret Agent because I just don't know how many people are going to get to it. And I think a Secret Agent person probably is a Sinners person. I think that's why all of this gets informed of one another. I think that's why Sinners takes that early. It's just a very weird way of saying, like, in this ranking that you have, it does amount to One Battle winning Best Picture. So this has to tell me the story. This ranking tells me the story of how One Battle won Best Picture.
And I'll pull up my haul real quick too, because I did want to discuss that because I don't want to seem like a psychotic person that doesn't put
No.
thought into it. So with One Battle being my picture winner on March 3rd, at least, I've got PTA winning director. I've got, and I feel like you have to have an acting prize. So right now that's Sean Penn for me, but the conversation I had with you is probably going to factor into that a little bit. But that's what I've got right now. Screenplay, obviously, which I think is pretty much as close to a lock as you can be. And then one of the categories I want to bring up when we transition to the below the line stuff is I've got it currently as the winner for editing and cinematography, which editing I always feel like is a pretty telling precursor on the night of. Not always, but the last 3 years has matched up with the Best Picture winner. And it is a really good edited film. It's been getting, so did Sinners, though, but it did get the Ace Eddie recently. So that's what I've got for One Battle. And then just to turn it around on Sinners real quick, I don't feel great about it now after having you on, Clayton. What the F, man? But I had Woonmi Misaki, Michael B. Jordan, screenplay, casting, and score.
So here, I'm glad you pointed it out.
All right.
So what you have presented to me, this ranking right here for Best Picture that I'm looking at tells me One Battle, One Best Picture. But every other category you showed me does not. Because 2 acting prizes, screenplay, and that movie lost Best Picture.
Well, I'm probably going off Woonmi now, though. But yes, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I'm probably going Amy Madigan.
And I think, and actor being such a big thing to go with it, because so many actors
or lead performance, right?
Lead performance wins for the movie. It's like they're consciously going Michael B. Jordan, but like saying nah on the movie. Like that.
Do you think it's easier? Do you think it makes more sense? And I'm not talking about for my just in general. Do you think it makes more sense for Best Picture to be tied to a lead acting prize or the director prize? Which one do you think?
There's also the overall haul that you need to like. One Battle can win Best Picture with a minimum of 3. Like, it's a very low number. Like, picture, director, screenplay. I think you could tell me that Midnight Cowboy did its night, and that's what it did. And I believe you. I think its barrier of entry is very low. Sinners' barrier of entry is 5. It needs to do the Gladiator, like kind of the Gladiator route, a mixture of it. Because Gladiator didn't win screenplay, but it got 3 techs, Russell Crowe, and picture. So in this case, it's screenplay, Michael B. Jordan, 2 techs, and picture. That's its barrier of entry. I think if it did those 4, it can be 5. So, but what it wins matters. So if Amy Madigan wins, Sean Penn wins, Jessie Buckley, Michael B. Jordan is too hefty of a prize, and it's too much of a purity choice. It's too significant to be. I would, in this case, if I believe that One Battle is winning, like, picture, I'd either revert back to Timmy or I just go Leo, like, and just be like Leo pulled. Or I would even take Ethan Hawke. Like, Ethan Hawke won, but One Battle, One Best Picture. I could actually see that. Michael B. Jordan is such a specific choice for a voter to make that, and like, I saw some people today, Vanity Fair released their Oscar predictions today, and they have One Battle doing picture, director, screenplay, supporting actor, supporting actress. And I think that makes sense. If you believe One Battle is the one, give it a day like that. I don't buy that Tiana's going to pull it off in the end stuff, but that tells me the appropriate story. Michael B. Jordan is just too much of the heart of the movie choice to make. It would be like, it's when Jean Dujardin won for The Artist. It was Clooney that season, and then when SAG did Jean Dujardin over Brad Pitt and George Clooney, we knew it was picture. Like, it was just, you don't do that unless it means something.
I'm also kind of thinking that that's just such an open category that in other words, like, it's not a situation where Timmy's obviously not as strong as anybody thought he was. He's much weaker than I thought. So
yeah, I mean, listen. Either way, stats are falling. So remember the stat I gave you about Sean Penn, and that happened for Yu Jun-yoon. No one, and I think this is true. No one has won the Oscar with just SAG.
Right.
Nobody, and that's exactly what Michael B. Jordan has. Like Timmy is in Sean Penn territory right now for Mystic River. The first time he had Critics' Choice and Globe, and then he came back and won. People tried to equate this to that year and said Michael B's like Johnny Depp, and because Johnny Depp won SAG that year,
right.
Bill Murray won BAFTA, and I was like, Johnny Depp wasn't in the movie that was nominated for 16 Oscars.
I was going to say he wasn't in Sinners, yeah.
Like, you'd be right under normal circumstances, but I'm sorry, like Michael B. Jordan's not Johnny Depp. Like,
it's not the same team, and it wasn't like a movement behind that either. It didn't feel like energy and an uprising or whatever. So,
and by the way, Johnny Depp didn't give a speech.
Right,
he wasn't there that night.
And Michael B's was great too. I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad speech or not memorable. I mean, it was a great speech. So, talking about his humble beginnings in Hollywood and his mom driving him to the auditions.
Oh God, yeah, like he knew the assignment, man. He ran the ball. He brought it home, man, and then Delroy brought it really home at the end. But back to your original thing, editing, I think, is one battle. I do. I actually, going through some stuff, I think Sinners is number 2. I don't think F1 is 2 number anymore.
Yeah,
I think
I'm recently
Sinners.
Changing that too, I believe. Yeah,
it's one battle. I think one battle might have it. Cinematography, I don't think one battle's in it. I think that is, based on my conversation, it's Sinners versus Train Dreams. That's why I don't think Train Dreams. That's why I don't think Train Dreams is 10.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, Train Dreams is actually my favorite cinematography of the year. I guess I was just scarred a little bit about Nickel Boys last year because I equated to that film, and that was the most beautiful film I saw, and it didn't even get in. So
because we don't get purity choices in cinematography. We've done this so many times before. We did it with Assassination of Jesse James for Roger Deakins, and they just went with a Best Picture nominee. Robert Elswit for There Will Be Blood, PTA movie. We did it with The Tree of Life. We thought they were doing it for Tree of Life. They went Hugo. That was winning other Oscars. So purity choices are tough. That's why I think it's Sinners. I think Sinners is taking cinematography. And you have to remember, that would also be historic. Well, that thing this year, names are on the ballots for the first time. Mm-hmm. They're going to see the name Autumn Durald Arkapaw.
That would be great. That would be another historic win that means something, not just like cool cinematography, And I've heard the critiques around it. You can probably tell behind me. Horror is my favorite genre, so I didn't even. Yeah. It didn't even register with me that there was anything wrong or different about it. I loved it. I felt like it was supposed to be dark in certain situations.
It is the. I really mean this. Maybe since the year of 2007 with the Assassination of Jesse James and There Will Be Blood, this is the best 1-2 punch of cinematography, like the top 2.
Yeah.
Of I'm like, whoever wins, we all win. Like what Adolfo did in Train Dreams, it's a masterpiece. And what Autumn does on Sinner, and I've spent time with both of them. They're both amazing humans. I want them to get 90 Oscar nominations more. Like, they are incredible. But I think this is one of the tightest races happening, unfolding, that people don't realize. I think people see one battle winning BSC and BAFTA. I think Train Dreams is winning ASC.
I was going to say ASC is this weekend with WGA, right? So
after Oscar voting ends. I think Train Dreams is going to win ASC.
But that's another reason, to your point at the beginning of the broadcast or recording, that people are already doing their final predictions for that stuff. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for ASC. Like, I don't fucking know what they're doing,
Ridiculous.
Like, let's hang tight. Like, so you mentioned cinematography already. So I do agree with you that I think Train Dreams is my favorite, which also always kind of messes me up a little bit, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to go with like my opinion, you know what I mean? But I'm like, well, maybe you could do it, because I've seen the different stuff they've had on YouTube talking about, what Veloso did, and it is beautiful. It looks beautiful, and cinematographers are going to know that. That's their field.
Yeah.
So I do think it's between that, One Battle, and Sinners. The One Battle thing is funny because before the week of the BAFTAs with the BSC and all that, I didn't even have One Battle. I think I had it at like 4 or 5. And that was just because I thought it was a really strong film, but I didn't think it was going to be the winner for cinematography until that week. And then I was like, well, the BSC and the ASC, but we don't have that yet. But has a great track record with matching up with the Oscar winner. So I'm like, and then when it won the BAFTA back to back like that, I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to flip now and see what happens with the ASC. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with cinematography. So the other ones I wanted to ask you about and just kind of pick your brain on real quick, because I know I've been keeping you forever, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. But it's been a great convo, though. Yeah. But international feature for sure has got me scratching my head a little bit.
It's a photo finish. I don't know. I honestly do not know.
Let me just tell you where I was a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, I was like, sentimental value. I mean, most nominations. It's going to win. It's going to win BAFTAs. Stellan's going to win there. It did get foreign language film there, or non-English, I guess. So it has that, but I mean, I feel like it's been underperforming in places where we didn't think it was going to. I don't really look at the SAG because it didn't do anything for international this year. But taking that off the table, the other places it's been, you would have expected it to win things. Most notably, Stellan at the BAFTA. The Secret Agent, on the other hand, has not been nominated necessarily at all those places. It hasn't had as much opportunity to overperform at those places, but when it's there, it is performing. And Wagner Moura's showing up. He's doing interviews and presentations, and we were talking about the various things that Kleber's been doing on the circuit. So I don't know. I just have a feeling with kind of riding the wave of I'm Still Here too from last year, and having that kind of in the mindset still, the Brazilian culture and just the wave around the films that they have in contention. It's so infectious. I love it. And I love seeing all the different stuff that the community is doing to get behind those films. So I do feel better about predicting The Secret Agent, but at the same time, it doesn't really make sense to me. but Sentimental Value hasn't done anything to tell me, oh yeah, that's the winner. So where are you at? What do you think?
It's 50-50, man. It's one or the other. I really wish I could it's a lot of people haven't. There are people that are like, I need to get to it. I think Sentimental is going to have the European contingency. I think that's fair to say that maybe gets it over the edge, but I don't know. I think it's going to be the one that's going to be my game time decision of where I am.
Probably for a lot of people, and it's probably going to be a 50-50. Half the people we know are going to predict one, and half are going to predict the other, and nobody's going to know. Which is exciting, honestly. But
I just feel like I really know that Accident's 5.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I feel like I know that, unfortunately. And then Surat's 4. I think Hammer Job is 3.
Nominees for documentary feature. I've only seen 3 of them as we're sitting here, but I do have a screener for one, and the other one that I haven't seen is on Apple TV. So we'll be watching them before the ceremony. But is this The Perfect Neighbor, or is that too obvious? What do you think?
2 weeks ago, I was like, it's Perfect Neighbor no matter what. But it also hasn't won anywhere.
I know.
And I think that's tough. We are a little bit in unprecedented territory because this category has traditionally gone very international. This year we have a very American lineup.
Mm-hmm. We do. That's true. Yeah.
Talking about telling the story. I think a Sinners voter is a Perfect Neighbor voter, but I also think a Sinners voter could also vote for Alabama Solution.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. 100%.
And then international can split between Cutting Through Rocks and Putin. Nobody Against Putin.
Mm-hmm. And Come See Me in the Good Light has a little bit of star power behind it too.
Come See Me in the Good Light is my personal favorite doc of the year. I love that movie so much. And it's the only one that weirdly doesn't bum you out. At the end, you feel some sense of oh, I can go on living right now.
Right.
I think that can have a difference. Honestly, I think I'm ultimately between Perfect Neighbor and Putin, and I don't know where I'm going to land. I think undoubtedly Perfect Neighbor is the most seen, and I think maybe that's just enough.
Netflix being behind it. Yeah, I feel like, and I don't know if you have a stat off the top of your head, but I feel like the Oscars don't always go for the most obvious or the most seen either, though. So I feel like that might actually be a negative,
Yeah, I don't. Perfect Neighbor.
They like to do something different,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a non-traditional nominee in many ways. This whole body cam footage, and again, some people think it's tough subject matter, right? Like it just might be, I don't know. It's
It does
tough.
have it does have some stuff behind. I mean, it's got the Ace Eddie for documentary, which is crossover with a guild
Yeah,
industry award.
yeah. I
Got the
just think
CCA nomination for editing.
it losing PGA to My Mom Jane
Yeah, that was so
is
weird.
such it was such like a damn, like
But
we don't know.
but it made me add a movie to my watch list because I haven't seen My Mom Jane, and I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even know about it. So I was like, I'm gonna check this out. All right, so that's it for like picking your brain, Clayton Davis. Is there any categories that are like making you scratch your head that you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing besides the ones that we've talked about? Any additional ones?
documentary for sure.
Yeah. What are you doing in
Um,
sound? Are you doing F1 in sound?
I think I'm doing F1,
Okay.
but I'm telling you, man, this is another thing. Sinners is one or two in every category,
Mm-hmm.
and that is insane.
It's a threat in every
Like,
category.
I don't think it's three anywhere.
Wow.
Like the maybe costume design, but I could also see that it wins costume design at the same time. Not saying it's going to, but like
Right.
it
Ruth
is
Carter,
top
right?
two. Yes, Ruthie Carter. Like
Yeah, so I
it's
mean, of
number
course. Yeah, good, yeah.
it's number two everywhere, and
Yeah.
I just am like that movie. But and one battle, it's like listen, I said it's between like Leo, Ethan, and Michael B. Like also Leo also could be five. You know, he hasn't won
Right.
anything. You
Yeah,
know,
that's what's really exciting about a lot of these categories is like the gap between 1 and 5 is not huge in almost
yeah,
all the except maybe Buckley's
yeah,
category. But I mean,
yeah. Production
yeah,
design, it's four at best. You know, sound. I mean, like it could be higher in sound. I think sound. I'm probably ultimately go F1, but you know, depending on where I get in editing, like if I do end up, if I take it's part of the story. If I take Sinners in editing, I'm taking it in sound.
to tie
I'm not going to
together,
split
right?
it up.
Better bring that back.
I will not. But then you
Better
start
bring that
having a
back.
thing of like, I have Sinners winning too many Oscars, or
Right.
maybe I just have the movie that got nominated for 16 Oscars get like I think there's a weird range of like 5 to 11. And I'm not even joking. Like
Yeah,
5 to 11.
especially if
And
they're number 2 in so many. Yeah.
if I change Sinners to One Battle, let's say One Battle I got in 16 nominations, and I said One Battle was winning 11, people would have no problem with that. People would be like, oh, like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
the most nominated film of all time. Why wouldn't it tie
Right, sure.
the most winning movie? But Sinners, people are just so dismissive of like,
I don't know.
no,
I don't know
like,
why.
no.
I do agree with you that I don't know why. I'm not like that. Even though I'm not predicting it, I 1,000% can see everything happening a different way. And these aren't my final predictions, but I mean, right now, everything you're saying makes sense, and I love Sinners too, so that helps. But like, it's deserving. One battle's also deserving. It's just gonna. I mean, we don't. Like you said, you
Yeah,
can't talk to 10,000 people.
listen, I'm gonna say this would be a good Jerry Springer final thought,
Sure.
and I'll say this for both movies. Neither of them really allow civil discourse in terms of if you say one of them is okay, people will punch you in the face. Like they'll be like, "What are you talking about? It's a masterpiece. How dare you not call this
Right.
movie the best thing that's ever happened in cinema?"
Right. And I've run into that. So
Both camps are like that, and it's
Sure.
been the most exhausting thing
It's
I've had to deal
insufferable,
with
man.
this season. It's insufferable.
It sucks,
Um,
and you get it 10 times worse than I do. I'm sure, but yeah, it's just it just makes it.
and like, listen, I am simultaneously like in the bag for like getting paid by Sinners and getting paid to smear Timmy. But last year I was getting paid to prop Timmy up
Sure.
to beat Adrian Brody, and then Ari was paying me, and I was like, I wish I was making all this money
You
that you
can't.
guys
Well,
think I am.
the reason is you can't have an opinion. All of this must be for some. You must be trying to get something done out there. I mean, it's like
Listen,
what?
and I
We don't
mean
have
this.
time to do that shit.
I care more about being right than
Yeah.
who wins. I promise you. Like
Well,
I want like if I get 24, like if I come at the end of this weekend, I'm like, guys, actually it's one battle, and then I go 24 for 24. I'm so souped, even
it's
though
fine.
my heart
Yeah.
would break for Kugler. Like
Right.
on the personal cinephile level, but I'd be like, I went perfect to my prediction, so like cool,
Right.
you know. But
In other words, I know you well enough to know, and I've followed you for long enough to know that you're not going to predict something unless you think it's going to happen because you want the accuracy. So you're not.
yeah, and especially even if I think it's high, like it's Mel Rossellini, great example. Like I was like, it's too close to call, and it's kind of a dumb call, but I got it. I got to see, because if it did happen and I didn't do
Right.
it,
Right.
I'd be more mad.
Right, and that's kind of where I am with Winmi Misaki right now too. It's the same scenario where it's like, do I do it because I don't want to miss it if she does get it, because then I go off of it and I'll beat myself up over
Yeah.
it, like whatever.
And I'll tell you the truth here. I think the reason why I'm also kind of talking myself into Amy Madigan is because I'm so sold on Delroy, and then if I'm taking Woomy also with
That's
Michael
a
B,
avalanche.
it does not allow me to do a split. I take Kugler no matter what.
It's like centers down the board pretty much at that point.
And then I take, I would take. I think I could get centers to like 9 with like picture, director, 3 acting, cinematography, score, casting, and then that's 9 screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be 9. It's a lot. It's a lot of Oscars.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can get it to 7 in a split. That then you're Shakespeare in Love, and then it's not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Shakespeare won 2 acting, screenplay, and picture, and lost director. It's the most winning film of those above the lines to lose director. So I can concede that Sinners ends up in that kind of space.
Sure. Well, one thing. Well, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the show. I mean, I can't imagine there's anybody in the industry that's busier this week than you are this week and next week. So I really appreciate it, man.
It's about paying it forward, man. Listen. I started on a blog. I did some of the YouTube thing. I did all that. So, people did it for me. People that I shouldn't have been talking to me when I was there, talk to me.
Sure.
And I would say that, I would, but I watch a lot of all the people on YouTube because it comes up in my feed. I'm an Oscar guy, so of course it comes up.
Yeah.
I see the crap you talk about me too sometimes. Not you, but you.
I was gonna say what?
You that's watching from your phone, laying in bed.
Oh my god, man.
But yeah, it's about all this is for the love of cinema, man. Like movie.
And one thing, I'll wrap up on this before I say goodbye to you, is I hope people see, because I'm in the one battle camp right now. I think that's the front runner, the winner for best picture, director, whatever. You're thinking Sinners right now, but guess what? I love this conversation. I heard all your points. I loved hearing what you said. Hopefully I was insightful.
I also see how you're right. You could totally be right.
Right. And it's civil, it's okay. It's okay that we don't agree right this second on what the outcome's going to be. It's fine. And, it's for fun, man. I want to have fun doing it. This was a lot of fun. So I do appreciate it. Clayton, do you want to tell them where they can find you, man? I mean, they probably know already.
Yeah.
But what do you want to promote, buddy?
Well, you can read my stuff on Variety, obviously, variety.com. And you can follow me on all my social channels. It's by Clayton Davis, BY Clayton Davis. It's everywhere, Twitter, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel that I don't really use a whole ton, but it's there, so follow me there. And then you can see me I'll be at the Oscars this year again.
You're going this year? I meant to ask you that, actually. Yeah, you're going this year. Cool.
I've gone. The very first one I ever went to, my first Oscars ever, was Coda Year, The Slap.
Oh, wow.
That was my first Oscars, man.
You've been chasing that high the whole time, ever since then, right?
I joke with the Academy all the time, thank you for making my first one so memorable.
Oh, my God. They must have done that for you. That's crazy.
Wow. It was just for me, man. But yeah,
that's
it's been like, listen, I consider myself very, very blessed. Like, I've watched the Oscars my entire life, and the fact that I get to watch it happen in real time, and then get to spend time with these people and breathe the same air
oh
that
yeah.
they do. It's crazy. But also listen to my podcast, Variety Award Circuit podcast. I interview all the contenders. I got Kugler, at Tig Notaro, this phase 2 period,
Okay.
at Michael B. Like, some great people. Listen to them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tag it down in the description too, guys.
Chase Infinity was great. That's a good one to listen to.
Man, I
My
love
first
her,
one of
dude.
the season.
Yeah, I love her. I'll be checking them out. I've already heard some snippets that have been chopped up. I've heard different clips and stuff, but I'll put it down in the description so everybody can check you out, because they should. Because you're hard working this season, man. You do a lot of great stuff. And I love the passion behind it. I love the swings. You got to take swings, man. We were talking on the phone the other night. You can't, just go up and down and just like this.
Sometimes it's a boring year, but this is not one of those years, man.
Yeah,
Best
this
actress,
is not one of those years.
put money on Best Actress, and that's it. And then
And the screenplays, and that's it. Yeah, anything can happen.
Anything.
All right, man. Well, sweet, brother. Well, good luck, man. Good luck this award season. And if nothing else, I think you echo my sentiment that we can't lose, man. I mean, it's probably going to be Sinners or One Battle. And if that's the case, then I love both movies. I'm good. There will be a great representation for the year. Let's just be nice to each other. I keep saying that at the end of all these videos because it gets a little more heated day by day. And the Oscars are so late this year. So I want everybody to just, be positive.
Look at my feed, man. My feed is where all the love is.
The comment section,
right,
man. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Love you.
You're the best, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Clayton. I appreciate it, man.
Right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed my conversation there with Clayton Davis. I did not expect it to go 2 hours. I'm not sure what the edit will end up doing there, but he's been a great supporter of my channel, and especially as of late this award season. And wanted to come on the show, and I thought that was so sweet and supportive of him to do that. So had to do a final power rankings with somebody that lives and breathes this stuff. Some great insight there, but some head scratchers that have really got me thinking. I'm going to have trouble going off my Ryan Castleman brain with the stats on some of this stuff, like the One Battle Hall that it currently has and DGA for PTA and all that stuff. And I will let you guys know when I do the final predictions. My members will probably know much earlier than that because I do all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff for them. But, right now, everything you saw on the slides tonight is pretty much where I'm sitting. The Wound Me Masaki one for supporting actress is probably the closest one I am to flipping to Amy Madigan. In fact, I probably will do that before I do my final predictions. Remember what I said to Clayton, and remember what I've been saying lately. Be nice to each other. If you think it's somebody different's going to win, it's okay. Maybe you'll be right, and I'll be happy for you. Maybe you'll be wrong, and you should be okay with that. We're having fun. We're celebrating movies. I will see you out here next time in the garage.